Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Average Joe, the series where I'll be taking a look at a vehicle and telling you whether or not I believe it's worth the average player's time, or in this case, their money. In this episode, we'll be looking at the M1 KVT, a rank 7 American Premium MBT sitting at 10.3 battle rating. With that little introduction out of the way, let's jump right into what this vehicle is capable of, starting off with firepower. For its primary weapon, the M1 KVT is armed with the M68A1 105mm cannon. This gun is well known for two different things at this battle rating, one of them being its relatively low armor pen value for the battle rating, not even being able to go through 400mm of armor, and the other thing it's well known for being its incredibly quick reload rate, being 6.5 seconds stock, which is all but unheard of for a non-auto-loaded MBT. This quick reload rate is one of your main advantages, so use it, because most of the time whenever you're fighting other MBTs, if you both fire and don't kill each other, you're likely gonna out-reload them so long as your loader isn't dead. But like I said, the main drawback of this gun is the fact that its armor pen is relatively low for the battle rating, so you do have to be careful because some weak spots that other tanks can go through, you will not be able to. To go with this main gun, you also have two different machine guns, one being a 7.62 coax machine gun and the other being a roof-mounted 50 cal, which you're gonna need that roof-mounted 50 cal because you're gonna be fighting Russia basically every match, and Russia at top tier is known for one thing and one thing only, and that one thing is CAS. Almost all of your deaths in this thing, if you're playing it properly, are going to be to either a bomb or a rocket. There's really nothing you can do at that point other than hope that your 50 cal aims true, I guess, and pray to whichever god you think is fair, because you don't really have any other option if there's multiple Su-25s in the air, and there's gonna be multiple Su-25s in the air. Moving on from weapons, let's talk about survivability, because this vehicle is very survivable, and it's not gonna sound like it until I get to the end of this segment, so just bear with me. First off, your armor. It's not gonna save you from just about anything. You're gonna get penned from the side, you're gonna get penned from the front. Your lower front plate is very exposed. Your turret armor is not gonna block any high penning darts. Your turret neck is extremely easy to go through, and if someone does, you're either completely disabled or dead. There's very little you can do in the way of actually blocking shots when it comes down to your armor. Fortunately, you're not going to be blocking shots with your armor. Both of the sides on the front part of the hull, and also most of the back of the tank, is made up almost entirely of fuel tanks, which sounds bad, but fuel explosions aren't actually all that common at top tier right now, so these fuel tanks are basically your guardian angels. They're gonna block a lot of shots for you. You're gonna be on fire quite often, but honestly, it's not that much of an issue, so don't worry about the fire. Just worry about shooting the guy that tried to kill you. With that, the Abrams also has a bunch of pretty useless modules like optics that are basically there just to occasionally completely absorb a shot like a black hole. There's no real reason for it other than Gaijin decided that optics and black holes are one and the same. I'm not Gaijin, and I'm also not an expert on optics. For all I know, they are the same thing. So I'm just gonna not bother touching on that anymore and talk about an actual feature of the Abrams, the blowout ammo rack. Now, the blowout ammo rack is very, very helpful. It can store up to 22 rounds, so I recommend bringing only 23 so that you have one loaded in the breech when you start a game and the rest in the blowout panels. Basically, what it's going to do is if you get shot in the ammo rack, instead of immediately dying, you are going to instead have your entire ammo rack burn up, which is fine because that's better than you dying. You can go get ammo somewhere else, but basically the ammo rack is going to completely go off in a massive fire, and unless you have a round loaded in the breech, you are going to be completely out of ammo for the foreseeable future. This is better than dying though, in my opinion. So, work with what you got, figure out how you're going to get more ammo, but just keep in mind, the blowout ammo rack will save you more times than you think, but it's also not the most useful feature on this vehicle. Continuing our trend of survivability, let's talk about things that are going to just flat out prevent you from being shot. Your smoke grenades and your ESS. Now, you have 3 uses of ESS, which if you don't know what that is, that's engine smoke screen. So basically, as long as your engine is on, you're going to be able to drop a giant cloud of smoke. Keep in mind, thermals can see through it. They can't, however, see through your 12 smoke grenades, which you fire in sets of 4 in a very wide pattern in front of your turret. This is extremely useful, and I cannot tell you how many times I've been saved by this. Use it sparingly, because you only got 3 uses, but at the same time, use it when you have to. Moving on to a subject that I haven't really covered before on any of these vehicles, other than making a minor joke about it during the Leopard 2A4 video, and that is maneuverability. The Abrams is, to my knowledge, one of, if not the fastest MBTs at top tier in the entire game. It is absurd. It can reach a top speed of 72 kilometers an hour. You're not always going to see this top speed, however, you are going to notice just how quickly it can accelerate and how effective it can be at getting from point A to B before the enemy. Moving on to our final category of the video, before I talk about whether or not it's worth it, I'm going to be talking about mostly miscellaneous things that I don't think fit into any other section. First off, let's talk about some little tidbits about the weapon that I don't think are really important to the actual weapon segment. First off, you have a laser rangefinder. This should be pretty obvious. Basically every top tier vehicle in the game has a laser rangefinder, but I still thought I should mention it. With that, you have absolutely abysmal thermals. They are still helpful for spotting people at long ranges, don't get me wrong, but they are really bad thermals and should not exactly be used as your main method of spotting people. And within close range, good luck telling the difference between two different tanks. Moving on, we also have a unique flaw specific to the M1 KVT, and that is its Vismod. If you do not know what a Vismod is, it is a special modification that comes on some vehicles that only add visual changes, or what is supposed to be only visual changes. In reality, you actually change two aspects of the KVT, one of them being removing the side panels from the edge of your tracks, making it much easier for things like heat rounds to go through your side. The other thing is you add two barrels on the back of your tank. Now, this wouldn't be the worst thing if it wasn't for the fact that they completely block your ability to shoot somebody that's behind you. So if you do buy this vehicle, I personally believe it's better off that you just go into your modifications and take off the Vismod. You'll find it at the bottom of the middle column. Also, it is worth noting that this vehicle is, when the Vismod is removed, a complete reskin of the M1 Abrams found in the American Tech Tree. So if you do not want to purchase this thing, don't worry, you still can play it as long as you want to grind the American Tech Tree. Also, the M1 KVT is a rank 7 premium in the American Tech Tree, meaning it can research the entire American ground forces without a single penalty, which is very, very nice. And for the last miscellaneous thing, it is actually something felt by almost every NATO MBT, and that is something called NATO Hump. If you don't know what that is, basically almost every NATO MBT, especially when you get to modern, has a little hump on the back of the engine deck. This actually prevents most tanks, including the M1 KVT, from looking completely behind themselves without having to elevate their gun, meaning they cannot shoot somebody on a level playing field that's directly behind them. This is a pretty big problem, however, it hasn't actually gotten me killed before. It has gotten very close, but it has never killed me. With all that being said, let's talk about the price tag of this vehicle and whether or not I believe it's worth that price. For $65 US, you will get the M1 KVT, 15 days of premium, and 2,000 Golden Eagles. So do I think it's worth that price tag? Well, the answer is unsurprisingly no. I don't believe that any War Thunder vehicle is worth that much money. However, this vehicle, when on sale, is an excellent buy. So, if it's on sale, go ahead and pick it up if you want to grind the American Tech Tree through. I personally really enjoyed it. It's my favorite MBT to play so far. It's pretty user-friendly. The only thing that I think you really got to look out for is the fact that you're gonna have to be very cautious of how you use your survivability. Don't rush in too far on your own. Wait for your team. That's really all the advice I can give. Like I said, vehicle, in my opinion, worth the money on a sale. If it's not on sale, probably best to skip this one. With all that being said, I'd just like to thank you all for watching. Let me know if there's any vehicles you want to see in the future of the series. Have a good one.